Hi, welcome to my show. Today we're going to talk about the...
Eduardo,
What?
it's no focus.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
get down.
Eduardo Show and friends.
I want to be independent. No, why? No.
Yes.
Hi, welcome to episode 2 of Eduardo Show. In today's episode, we're going to talk about two major topics, capitalism and democracy, involved in 6 regions. Europe, North America and Latin America, Africa, Middle East, and Asia.
Capitalism is an economic system in which investment in and ownership of the means of production, distribution, and exchange of wealth is made and maintained chiefly by private individuals or corporations, especially as contrast for cooperatively or state-owned means of wealth. Some examples can be United States, Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia.
On the other hand, we have democracy. Democracy is a form of government in which the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised directly by them or by their elected agents under a free electoral system. Examples of democracy can be seen in the United States, United Kingdom, Mexico, and China.
In 1803, the U.S. purchased more than 500 million acres of land, then known as Louisiana. The Louisiana Purchase included most of the land west of the Mississippi River, east of the Rocky Mountains, and north of the Gulf of Mexico. The borders were actually not very well defined at all. President Jefferson sent Meriwether Lewis and William Clark on an expedition to explore these new territories and to find a waterway to the west. In 1835, war broke out in Texas, then part of Mexico, with rebels fighting for independence. Rebels were massacred at the Alamo Mission Station, but by the end of the war, the Texans had driven the Mexicans out and Texas became an independent republic. The American Civil War began in 1861 and would continue through the 1865. Johnny Reb and Billy Yank were the nicknames given to Southern and Northern soldiers. The Southerners fought with fierce loyalty to their state. The Northerners had the same loyalty to their country. In the end, some 635 million Americans were dead. A side effect of the war was the end of slavery, but the war itself was about much more.
Hi guys, I'm Laura. Today I'm making the impossible. I'll explain 19th century of Latin America in less than 2 minutes, or at least I'll try. It's important to remember that Latin America is really big and diverse, but they all share the same similarity. They own their independence movements to one person, Napoleon Bonaparte. While he invaded Europe, the American colonies saw their chance. Creoles were the main promoters. You may know Miguel Hidalgo or Simón Bolívar. Well, all of them seek for the freedom of Spanish crown in their own part of Latin America. The main cause of this revolution was peninsulars treating really bad the Creoles. As an effect, Creoles seek for more respect and power. They practically use natives and slaves just to achieve the plan. They didn't care about their rights or their powers. They just use them as soldiers. The main cause for the victory, however, was the union of the Peninsulars and Creoles against Spanish. Isn't that weird? Sadly, the war that was meant to get rid of monarchy led to monarchy or anarchy or even bigger problems like economic problems and lots of discrimination. But well, That's just the beginning of a large, large history. So I think I did it. Less than 2 minutes. 19th century Latin American history.
Otto von Bismarck pushed German unification through the blood and iron. Prussia was competing with Austria to dominate the small other countries that were already independent. Prussia started dominating from Lithuania to central Germany. Prussia also controlled the German lands around a river in the west. Also, lay small provinces that Bismarck needed to incorporate under the Prussian crown to create a viable German empire. In 1862, Bismarck recognized the Prussian army and improved training to preparation for the war. In 1864, he constructed an alliance with Austria to fight Denmark. Prussia received Schleswig while Austria administered Holstein. That situation could not stand for longer, and Austria-Holstein was now surrounded by the Prussian islands. Bismarck provoked a conflict with Austria over an unrolled border dispute in the sequence of 7 weeks' war. Prussia crushed the collapsing Austrian army. The peace settlement transferred Holstein to Prussia and forced Austria to officially remove itself from the Germany affairs. Without Austria out of Bismarck's way, his next objective was the separatism of the southern provinces. Prussia's Protestantism and historical militarism made the gulf between North and South quite serious. But Bismarck turned the Republic to unite the Germanic provinces to constructing a war against the common enemy. In 1870, Bismarck forgot a note from the French ambassador, implying that the ambassador had insulted the Prussian king. After the leak of this letter, both populations, the people from France and the Prussia, ruled a nationalist sentiment, rose up in favor of war. Bismarck hoped the southern provinces reallied to Prussia's side without any hesitation. In 1870, French declared war to Prussia. After a week of fighting in Alsace-Lorraine, France lost the Franco-Prussian War, and Alsace-Lorraine was transferred to Germany in the Peasant settlement, allowing to declare the German Empire or Second Reich on January 21st, 1871.
During the 19th century, the time of imperialism, different parts of Africa were conquered by several European countries like France, Great Britain, Germany, Belgium, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. All of these big and powerful countries were interested because of the lands and resources of Africa. Great Britain owned a lot of the west coastal and northern states in Africa. France owned a big area of West Africa from Morocco to West Algeria. Germany controlled Togo, Cameroon, and the German Southwest Africa, together with the East Africa by the Belgium controlled the river area of Congo. And Great Britain also owned South Africa. Europe got so excited with Africa that by the time of 85, Berlin Conference, also known as the Congo Conference, organized by Otto von Bismarck, had to take place to regulate the colonization of African countries. By the end of 1880s, all African countries belonged to an European empire, giving them language, improvements, but also problems like illnesses, murder, and lack of freedom and democracy. That's why, by the beginning of 1990s, Africans started rebelling against the empires and achieving independence in most of Africa. By the end of the 20th century, most of African countries were independent from Europe. One of the important African independence war was the Algerian War, that took place from the years 1954 to 1962, which one of importance characters was Sadi Youssef, and resulted in the liberation from France of Algerians and achievement of independence and democracy. Some of the consequences of the imperialism in Africa was the loss of control over the lands, and many properties were taken from the owners and given to the British, and many of them died of new diseases brought by them. Millions of Africans were killed when they tried to fight the British and other colonies. A lot of the culture was lost when traditional authority figures were imposed to the Africans, replaced with European culture.
Now we're going to talk about the Middle East. One of the major events of the Middle East were the Balkan Wars, the first and the second. First, let's start with the first one, obviously. This war started in October 1912 and ended in May 1913. In this war, a military alliance known as the Balkan League, formed by Serbia, Montenegro, Greece, and Bulgaria, declared war to the Ottoman Empire. It gained force from European countries and defeated the Ottoman Empire. Even Constantinople, the capital, was threatened. As a result, the war was ended with a peace treaty and Albania was declared as an independent country. The remaining territory of the Ottoman Empire was divided into the Balkan League. The Second Balkan War started in June 1913 and ended 1 month after. The Balkan League broke relationships because Bulgaria wanted more and more of the territory gained, so it attacked Serbia and Greece. Romania and Montenegro joined against Bulgaria immediately. So did the Ottoman Empire, but after days Bulgaria sued for peace. Bulgaria lost a lot of the territory he had just gained in the First Balkan War, and the Ottoman Empire got back the city of Adrianople and all of eastern Thrace. The main cause of these wars was that Europe territories that had recently been independent from the Ottoman Empire wanted to incorporate members of their nationalities remaining under the Ottoman Empire rule, such as Bulgaria, Greece, Montenegro, and Serbia. As a consequence, like in every other war, there were many casualties. Bulgarians lost around 65,000, Greeks lost around 9,500, Montenegrins 3,000, and Serbs at least 36,000. The Ottoman lost as many as 125,000 dead. In addition, tens of thousands of civilians died from disease and other causes. Another important consequence was that the Balkan War made Bulgaria stop being the ally nation from Russia, since after the war, Bulgaria had been Russia's most important client in the Balkan region. Bulgaria's proximity to Constantinople afforded Russia a valuable base from which to bring pressure upon this vital area.
China, in the beginning of the 19th century, was under the rule of dynasties, which have changed from time to time. At that time, the Qing dynasty have already ruled from 1644 to 1912. The emperor became really corrupt and incompetent. Plus, people had to spend more than 40% of their salary in food. Therefore, they were really unhappy. Also, the Western Europe ideas started arriving. Did you know that China just had one power for exportation and importations? This kept the foreigners' influence at minimum, at least until British started the opium illegal importations, which by the way, made a lot of easy money. Most of Chinese became addicted to opium. This led to a terrible war between Great Britain and China, called Opium War. The Opium War lasted from 1839 to 1842, and was ended with the Treaty of Nanjing. British imposed this treaty, which included a damage payment for war damages, the reduction of low taxes for foreigners, and the opening of 4 more ports to foreign use. All this led to a bigger Wenshao influence, and obviously a bigger discontent of people. Rebellions started showing up. The Taiping Rebellion started in 1850. In this rebellion, young Steve Wood claimed to be the brother of Jesus, and even though this sounds insane and foolish, this rebellion caused more than 20 million deaths. The fight got so serious that foreign powers got involved to help Chinese government end this. During 1856, the Taiping and the Second Opium War took place in China. This time, The world legalized completely the opium with the Treaty of Tianjin in 1858. Also, the root word coolie was born during this period. This word was used by the Guangzhou to refer to the cheap hand of work that Chinese provide. This war lasted until 1860, and finally 4 years later, the Taiping Rebellion too.